Babylon had, by the time he was done, you had the mother goddesses that were known by different names throughout the centuries. There was Nina, and there was Wigel, and there was Estar, and there was Astaroth, and there was Venus, and there are many, many other names, but it goes back to the same old system. The male deity was Baal, which became a perpetual temptation to Israel. They'd fall down to Baal worship all the time. And the Babylonian mysteries produced the first high priestess, thus became the fountainhead of all idolatry and the mother of every heathen, pagan system in the world. It all came from the Tower of Babel, passed down through all the centuries, even to this present day. The mystery religion of the Tower of Babel spread in various forms throughout the world and is with us today. And watch the pattern here. Nimrod worshiped the virgin goddess Semiramis. He worshiped her and was building on this system the promise of a woman's seed who was to come. Woman's seed, Genesis 3:15. He knew Genesis 3:15. The ancient lore says that the goddess Semiramis bore a son whom she declared was miraculously conceived. Talk about Satan and his counterfeits. When she presented him to the people, they hailed him as the promised deliverer. And he goes by the name of Tammuz, which you'll find in Ezekiel chapter 8, verse 14, which Ezekiel preached against. That's why it's good to know Bible history. Consider this, people. What I've given you so far, thus was introduced the mystery of a mother and a child form of idolatry. From Babylon, this mystery religion spread to all the surrounding nations, and the as the years went by, as centuries went by, it became more populated, but it all can be traced back to the descendants of Noah. Everywhere the descendants of Nimrod went, they carried this cult mother, and the child became the popular system, and their worship was celebrated. As they grew, as they spread this thing throughout the planet Earth, it grew and it grew and it grew. The image, and then it got to the point where the image of the Queen of Heaven with the baby in her arms was seen everywhere in the known world. Does that sound familiar today? A queen mother with a baby in her arms? All goes back to Babylon. Although the names might differ as languages differed, Ashtaroth and Tammuz of the Phoenicians became Isis and Horus in Egypt, Aphrodite and Eris in Greece, Venus and Cupid in Italy, etc., etc. It goes on and on. It just has different names through the century. This became the known religion of the world, which had rejected the divine revelation of God. The devil, people, the devil has his religion on earth, but it is full of lies, idolatry, and it comes from the pit of hell. Isaiah chapter 42. Turn over there. Isaiah chapter 42. I want you to notice verse number 8. The Bible says, I am the Lord. That is my name. And my glory I will not give to another, nor my praise to carved images. When we get to that great whore, the mystery Babylon, I think you're going to know who it is by the time I get done describing it. No religion should bow down to carved images. No religion should bow down and give a woman more homage. Only Christ deserves that. I am the Lord. That is my name. My glory I will not give to another. Look at chapter 41 of Isaiah, verse 29. Indeed, they are all worthless. Their works are nothing. Their molded images are wind and confusion. Molded images, false worship, idolatry. That is a religious system that can be traced all the way back to the Tower of Babel. Turn with me again to Jeremiah. Turn to Jeremiah. I want you to notice chapter 5. Jeremiah chapter 5. I want you to notice verse 17. The Bible says, "And they shall eat up your harvest and your bread, which your sons and daughters should eat. They shall eat up the flocks of your herds. They shall eat up the vines of your fig tree. They shall destroy your fortified cities, in which you trust with the sword." See that? Which you trust with the sword. What he's talking about here is to find judgment on any nation that will not give God the glory. And of course, you remember Acts chapter 17 in your New Testament? Look at Acts chapter 17. And notice verse 29. The Bible says, "Therefore, since we are an offspring of God, we ought not to think that the divine nature is like of gold or silver or stone or something shaped by art and man's devising." That's Babylonian worship. When you take things and make them into idols and begin to worship them, that's just nothing but plain old Babylonian worship. Full of idolatry, full of pride, and full of rebellion. I want you to notice also, thirdly, Babylon became a world empire. Babel became a prominent kingdom under Hammurabi in the 17th century BC, and then a world empire under King Nebuchadnezzar in the 7th BC. You know that from Daniel chapter 1 and verse number 1. Babylon stands for the Roman Empire and the end-time Antichrist. The whole system is built around that. In Daniel chapter 2, we haven't got time to read this, but in Daniel chapter 2, verse 31 through 45, Daniel speaks of 4 empires that are satanic. That are satanic. Led by Gentile world powers that will extend throughout history until the time of the Antichrist and will be destroyed at Christ's return. These 4 empires are Babylon, Medo-Persia, Greece, and Rome. The Roman Empire is the final form of the devil's Babylonian Empire. That's why we believe as dispensationalists the revival of the old Roman Empire is going to come back. When you look at Daniel chapter 2 verse 33, you have to consider the 2 legs are divisions of the empire into the east, west, with the headquarters in Rome and Constantinople. Oh, and we get to Revelation chapter 17. The Bible talks about a mighty great whore who sits on the 7 hills. There's only one religion that sits on 7 hills in that part of the world, and that's the Roman Catholic Church and its headquarters. The feet, the toes, signify the end time which the Antichrist will rule. This is the final fulfillment of the devil's dream which